Hey guys, what's up? It's Lakat, and today I want to say thank you so much for 100 subscribers. I'm so excited. I started this channel maybe about 2 years ago, and I know I don't upload as often as I should, but I just want to say thank you so much for 100 subscribers. And today, as a special video for 100 subs, we're not looking at me nicely drawing brand new things. We're watching me redraw old art, shameful middle school 8th to ninth grade art. Yeah, it's that old anime art. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for 100 subs, and let's get right into the video. Behold what my art used to look like. Where do I begin? She's got no cheeks. It's like straight from her eye socket to her chin. Her eye is taking up absolutely all of her face. That barrette is attached to nothing. It looks more like there's a bug in her hair than a barrette. Her hair is just like choppy and weird, and the shape of the head is also making the ears slopey and strange. I remember when I drew this, I was just trying to like experiment and I wanted to like make some really nice new complicated hair, I guess. That's what I was going for, like this complex hairstyle, but instead it just looks like a girl with a mullet that has a bug in it. A bug infested mullet is what I have what I have drawn here. So this one I'm really just treating as a warm-up to get me in the mood, or the I don't know, just in the swing of things for redrawing this old art. It's so interesting looking at this old art and realizing like some of my old tricks that I still do now. For instance, just drawing the bust of a character when I don't really want to get into drawing like the whole character, I still do that now. Covering up one eye so that you don't have to make a match. I definitely remember that I did that, not as a stylistic choice, not because it made sense for her character, but just because I didn't want to draw the other eye, so I covered it up. And because of the way I covered the eye and also stuck up like a barrette in her hair and had like part of her hair pulled back, she ended up looking a lot like the goth girlfriend from my Duolingo video. So I don't know if that's like an issue that they look so similar, but it is just kind of funny watching like, oh, that looks like something I drew this 3 years ago, and that looks like something that I drew last week. There's also her facial expression in the old drawing is really just she wasn't really doing anything. I remember like it's just like the generic anime face that I knew how to draw at the time. She's not gasping or looking surprised in anything. She's just blah. She's just making that face. So in the redraw, I decided to make it look like she was gasping and surprised at something. And I also tried to make my style just slightly more anime than usual. I made the eye just a tiny bit bigger than I normally make it, which is funny. You don't realize how much your style changes over the years. I never really meant to move far away from my anime like style, and there's obviously still very clear influences in my style, but I used to read a lot of shoujo. I still do read a lot of shoujo. It's like my favorite genre of manga. But you can definitely see that Shugokara, that was the manga that inspired a lot of my old art. And you can really see that in like the way I'm trying to emulate it and the facial expressions that I'm choosing. And like I said, even though I've moved away from it now, you can still see it in my style. And I don't know, I kind of like it. I like having some of my old hallmarks of my style, even if I'm just sharpening them a bit. So for this one, as you'll see in a moment, I don't really color it that much. The original image is in black and white, and this was just kind of a warm-up for me. So I just put some gradients in there and then blocked in some solid colors. You'll see in a moment when I show you the finished piece, I actually go back in and I add in a little bit more black just so it doesn't look so, flat. But I just kept her black and white so that it would more strongly mirror the original image, which obviously had no color in it. And there we go. I have to show you 3 more drawings of my old art, so let's just continue on. Okay, woof. This second one. This is an OC of mine named Chica, who is I haven't worked on her in a while, but she's from this series that I made up, I think in 9th grade, and I still have not worked on since, but I still plan on pursuing it. First off, her waist is ridiculous. Her feet don't match her legs, her knees are too low, and the pose overall is just awkward. I didn't used to use any reference. I say used to, like I use reference now, but I used zero reference here. Like, oh, look at how close her knees are to the ground. I think she was supposed to be like in a very cute, like jumpy sort of anime pose. Like, you know, a lot of anime poses are kind of like if the character was jumping in the air and you took a little snapshot of them or something like that. So here, when I'm redrawing it, that's what I go for instead. And actually, even the face angle that I've chosen in the redraw is kind of difficult for me to draw even now. So, you know, just because I'm doing a redraw doesn't mean it's, I think it's going to be perfect. There's things I would change about each drawing. But that's why I went with this pose. I still kept the sweater that I put her in. You'll notice a lot of these characters that I'm drawing are going to be in sweaters because that's another crutch that I used to fall back on. If I was like having a hard time with the anatomy, then I could just put a sweater on them because sweaters are bulky. Sometimes you can use it to cover up the hands if you don't want to draw them. And I can say that I still definitely do this. I didn't realize I'd been doing this for so long, but I still definitely do this thing where if I'm doodling, more often than not, the character will end up with a sweater just because they're easy to draw. With this character specifically, I believe like in the story she's supposed to be poor, and this art that you see me drawing is actually the cover art for a short little manga that I drew in my sketchbook. It's all really bad, but it's a little story about her like going out and buying some expensive clothes for herself because she doesn't have a whole lot of nice things. You guys can tell me if you like this sort of redrawing thing, because I have a lot of old sketchbooks and I used to draw these characters all the time. I have so many drawings of Chica and the other characters that were in the series. Chica's not even the main character, but she had a boyfriend character, and then they were the two main characters. Tell me if you'd be interested in watching me redraw that. It would be interesting to try to see me draw manga now because like I said, back then I was really much more into shoujo and I was trying to emulate that in my style, and while I've walked away from it some, I think you can still see it in my style. So let me know if that's content you'd be interested in seeing. Something else that I want to point out is that in the old drawing, she's got these really weird socks on. Like I said, I didn't used to use reference for anything, so even when I tried to give my characters interesting looking clothes, it was all stuff that I just made up in my head. So I just went ahead and made the socks normal. I don't know, those just aren't a look. It's just not the move. So something I want to point out also that I'm doing here with the color palette is a trick that I've learned to do recently when doing digital art in figuring out a color palette, which is where you take the colors that you want, you swatch them, and then you put a unifying color underneath on a separate layer, and then you turn down the opacity of the colors on top, and then you re-swatch them, and now they all have that underlying color to tie them together, and it works really well. Even though I chose to put blue underneath, she overall looks very warm and very cute. It's the exact color palette that I had in my mind, so it's perfect. I think of all the drawings I've done for this video, this one is my favorite. I like the way that her hair fluffs up. When I designed her, I wanted her to have very different hair, even back then, obviously. And I think the whole drawing just really suits her. This is the way that I saw the character in my mind all the way back then, even though clearly the skill level wasn't there at the time. I mean, of course, I'm still not perfect at drawing. In fact, I think her ears a little small. In my redraw, the angle of her legs is a little bit off, but that's okay. The point of a redraw is to not say, look, I'm perfect now. It's more so to just show improvement over time, and can be a really good way to show yourself. If you don't feel like you're improving, I would encourage you to go and look at some of your old art and maybe do this yourself and do a redraw. It's a bit of a popular thing to do in our communities, I feel like, and really show yourself wow, I've improved so much more in the past year or 2 or 3 or 4 than I actually thought that I had. As the video goes on, the old art just keeps getting worse and worse. What are those pigtails? When she takes her hair down, she's just got part of her hair down to her chin, her non-existent chin, and then the rest of it is down to the small of her back. She's got absolutely huge eyes. If I remember correctly, I think she's supposed to be a lolly, but instead she just has eyes and no jawline. I don't know what else to say. She has absolute chicken legs. Those feet, at least I actually tried to draw feet. And she could drink peanut butter with that neck. I mean, just look at it. So we have our work cut out for us in this redraw. So I had a lot of trouble doing the posing for this one for whatever reason. It's funny because I actually think the posing on my old drawing is pretty alright, especially for the skill level I was at. It's clear that she's like timid, and kind of shy, and I can at least remember that she was supposed to be a lolly. In my redraw, she's not. Since then, the concept of lollies has become kind of creepy to me, so I aged her up a little bit. But I made the length of her pigtails make sense, finally. You can't have short pigtails and long hair. Like, I guess you can, but it just looks weird. Here, I think in the old art, you can really tell that I was reading that shoujo shugokara, because in the manga, the main character has like kind of punky hair, and her pigtails kind of look like that. So I was emulating that without properly knowing how to change it for my character who had long hair. And if you just heard the notification on my phone, I'm really sorry. I don't know how to edit it out. I'm not that good yet. What was I saying? Oh, the manga, right. Speaking of manga, I really like the way that the line art looks on this character. I think of all the characters that I'm drawn here, this one has my favorite line art. I just really like, I've recently been trying this thing with the way that I'm doing the shadows within the line art, and I really like it. This part that I'm coloring white on her sweater, originally it was going to be the green part of her sweater, but I wanted you to see the shirt underneath her sweater more, so I colored it white. And I'm just now realizing that the necklace is still underneath the wrong part of the sweater. It should be going over the white part, but it's too late to change all of that now. Now it's stuck looking like that forever, which is fine. You can also see me here absolutely abusing gradients. I've completely run away with that. I mean, it's a great way to shade. It's simple and it looks good. Is that cheap? I feel like people will be upset and say like it's a cheap way to color your art, but like I like the way that it looks. I do it it's become a very integral part of my coloring process at this point. I think she came across looking like really sweet. I think this is how I would redesign this character. Like if I was to take her and put her in a comic, I still kind of have like that youthfulness of like the bows in the hair and the pigtails without like all the creepy like context of lollies. You guys ruined that. Weebs ruined the concept of lollies, by the way. They were cute and innocent, and they should have stayed that way. So here's this one. I don't have a name for any of these characters aside from Chica, so comment down below if you have a name for her. All of it, just all of it is wrong. Just destroy, burn the whole drawing. I mean, okay, so at the time when I drew this, I knew it was bad, but geez, like look at his arms. No amount of medical care or treatment can save those arms, and like both hands are pointing in the same direction. I used to have this phase where like the necks were really long and thin. So this character Akane that you're looking at here, he's supposed to be super muscly, and I did not know how to draw muscly guys. Like look at those horse legs that I gave him. Like his knees are so close to the floor. This was a really ambitious anatomy, I guess, a very ambitious body type for me at the time when I made him up, and I knew what I wanted him to look like, but I just could not draw his muscles for the life of me. So let's try fixing him now. I have to admit that I do not draw guys that often. I should. I'm one of those online artists who only draws pretty girls with blushy noses. So I don't draw guys as often as I should, and to be honest, in this redraw, I surprised myself a little bit with the anatomy. Like I said, it's not perfect, and there are things even now that I can see that need improvement, but I did a lot better than I thought I would. I've come a bit far since my days of only being able to draw lanky little anime boys. So this character, he is from the same series as Chika is. His name is Akane, and yes, I know that is a female Japanese name. It's part of the joke, or it is a bit of a joke on his character because he's so masculine and muscular that he's got such a like girly sounding name. And the whole reason I did that is because initially I named him Akane, and then I found out Akane was a girl's name. And I was like, oh, it's too late. He's already been named Akane. This is Chika's boyfriend character. He is supposed to be a bit of a foil to her in the fact that he is a bit rich. I believe I made him the son of a wealthy merchant, but he's also like low-key kind of piratey. He's kind of edgy, which is why I gave him those earrings. Which he doesn't have in the original design, but again, this is much closer to the character that I had in my head. So be sure to comment below if you'd like to see a redrawing of those old terrible manga pages dedicated, but they're pretty bad. And next time we hit a milestone, maybe, you know, that can be what I redraw, if that's something you guys would be interested in. I'm being a little harsh on myself. I spent a lot of time on those manga pages, and some of them are actually pretty okay. So because he is a manga character, I decided to do him in grayscale, but not the same way that I did the first drawing. I was actually gonna go in and do proper like highlights and shading and gradients and all that kind of stuff, but I actually don't really color in grayscale a whole lot. I like lots of colors, and you know, I know some mangas like have a lot of gray in them and some are just black and white, but shoujo seems to have quite a bit. Like shoujo tries to get as close to color as possible with all of its grays and like sparkles and stuff. So that's the way I excuse me, that's the way I decided to color this. And you can see as I go more and more into the coloring phase that even though I was able to draw him pretty masculine looking, the way that I color in shade is very cute. I gave him very blushy cheeks, which was a little hard to do. It's hard to make grays stand out on each other without just using the same 3 grays. And even like the little shines that I put in his eyes. But like I said, we were emulating a pseudo shoujo style here, so I allowed him to end up looking maybe a little too shiny, a little too sparkly, because that was the style that I was going for. Again, I still haven't given up on the series that these characters are from, or the one series that these characters are from, and I really like the way that he came out. Good job. I'm slightly better at male anatomy than I was 4 years ago. I'll take it. Ta-da! Here we are. Here is the old art and the new art side by side. This is about 4 years of progress that I'm looking at right now, and I have to be honest, it's a little weird. It's a little weird to really step back and see how much your style has changed over 4 years, because sometimes you go out of your way to change it, but for the most part, you don't realize how much things are changing. And not only is it strange to see what I did change, it's even weirder to see what hasn't changed. The hallmarks that I still fall back on, like only drawing the busts of the characters and putting them in sweaters. That is even stranger. I want to thank you guys so much for watching till the end of this video, and just again for 100 subs and making this channel possible. You know, I think if I only had 2 subscribers, I would still be uploading these videos just because I like making them, but I just can't thank you enough. I know it's such a small milestone and I might be overreacting, but it's just exciting. I also want to let you guys know that I'm planning on, emphasis on planning on, the next video being an animation video. So you should really keep an eye out for that one. I know a lot of you that subbed to this channel as an animation channel, so that should be coming for you soon. If you don't follow me on my social medias, you totally should. I'm on Instagram at __Lockett, that's 2 underscores, and I'm on Twitter as LockettYT. I should be posting there more often because I don't post there a whole lot, but I'm trying to get into that. Thank you so much for watching until the end of the video, and until next time, lock out.